Man, I have a lot to say. On May 15th, 2025, I woke up early and got the Game Pass for PC and started downloading Doom the Dark Ages. And after the installation, I launched the game. Yeah, let's go, baby, come on. Doom! Wait, what? What's with this awful frame rate? I'm at the main menu and it's already 16 or 17 frame rate? What's the deal? Then I saw the game requires at least 6 GB of VRAM to run it. And I have an RTX 3050 4 GB variant. So I see where the problem lies. To play it, I must lower all the graphic settings and set it to performance. And you guessed it, I played it pixelated.
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
NPCs who don't have pupil in their eyes, which make them look like a ghost. And some areas that are covered in shadows will look ridiculously dark even on high gamma settings, making the navigation difficult.
Brother,
There is also an visual anomaly in the sky, weird artifacts forming in the distance.
what's that? What's that, brother?
Man, it feels like I'm back using a potato PC. But I got a constant 30 frames after this. Almost. I mean, it was still dropping to 20 time to time. From what I read, its software used id Tech 8 engine to make the Dark Ages, which does ray tracing renders by default, and there is no way to toggle it off. I hate the forced ray tracing. But to be honest, if you watch me play Doom like this, you are going to think I am not giving myself or the game enough credit than I should. But I did it and I finished the game because I'm an Doom enjoyer. On May 18th, 2025, after finishing the campaign, I want to play more, but I can't stand the low frames. So I grazed myself to Nexus Mods, and look at that, I found a workaround. If you are using an RTX 3050 like me and facing the same issue but really want to play this game, then there is a quick solution. There is an ultra low setting mod I found, link in the description, which helped me increase my frame rate significantly. All I gotta do is download the mod, copy its content, then paste it inside the base folder in the game's directory. Then copy this text and enter it in the console command to initiate the mod. And voila, it's up and running. I must put the console command every time I boot up the game. For further adjustment, I lowered the resolution by 900p and enabled the NVIDIA DLSS upscaler to quality mode, while the rest of the graphics settings are at low. Now I can enjoy the game at a playable frame rate, as well as appreciate the graphics too. But it's not a permanent solution by any means. I am still playing it at low settings, so those visual bugs are still there. Now, I'm going to share with you my personal experience with Doom the Dark Ages. In one of the interviews with Doom's director Hugo Martin, he mentioned in Eternal they wanted to give the player the feel of driving a sports car, describing the extremely fast paced combat mechanics in the game. And then he gave an insight of describing the next Doom game to be like hitting someone with a truck. At first, I had no clue what he meant. Then I saw the gameplay footage and I got it. The game gave the grounded feel like the old games. And I understood what kind of vision he wanted for this game. And you all might think it's a slow paced game compared to Eternal's chaotic scenario, but that's far from it. It's extremely engaging, and to explain that, I must talk about the combat mechanics. So let's talk about the obvious, the shield. It is the definition of hitting someone with a truck. Locking on into an enemy and attacking will perform an instant shield bash, which kills fodder enemies instantly and stuns heavy and super heavy demons. It is also a good traversal tool and a get out of jail free card in tight spots. Just like any other shield, it can be used to block all form of threats.
Physical or magical?
The shield is a boomerang style throwable weapon, so the shield can be used to throw and cut down a fodder crowd. Or throwing the shield at a heavy demon will stun them, drill into them, and pinch them down, creating opportunities for combos. This, however, doesn't work on super heavy demons. I don't know, thick skin or whatever. And lastly, the parry system that allows the player to counter enemy attacks to stagger them and open them up for high damage retaliation or rebound the enemy projectile or hell surge in this game. The shield blocks all attacks but has a posture bar that depletes when you block, so you can't just hold it forever. You must time your blocks and parries carefully or risk being staggered. So, the shield's purpose is a versatile defensive as well as an offensive tool. Later in the game, the player can receive shield runes that can be used in the combat and can change the tide of the battle. Parrying Hell Surge attacks can trigger powerful effects such as ground fissures or lightning strikes, enhancing crowd control capabilities. My personal favorite is the Ethereal Daggers, and the more you upgrade it, the more daggers it spawns. And this skill rune can instantly kill or stagger enemies, leaving them open for shield bash or glory kills. At first, I thought this skill was just too strong, too broken. But on custom slider difficulty, I changed my mind. I don't know how many times I was saved because of these daggers. I'll get into the slider difficulty shortly. In Doom, the weapons are the highlight of the series, and how it is smartly integrated in the combat defines the game. And the shield can be used with guns for extra damage. For example, the Shredder plus the shield. Start by throwing the shield to stun or drill into an heavy demon. Then fire the Shredder at the stuck enemy. Its projectiles ricochets from the stunned target, damaging and staggering nearby demons. This combo excels at crowd control and chain staggering, making it an effective way to soften groups before moving in for the kill. Similarly, the rocket launcher plus shield. Parry an incoming melee or projectile with a shield, then immediately fire the rocket launcher. The next rocket benefits from this massive damage buff, often strong enough to instantly kill heavy demons. This combo delivers a high burst damage, making it ideal for deleting elite demons or chunking down bosses quickly. Next is the combat shotgun with the incendiary rounds. Pin or stun the enemies with the shield and then blast them with incendiary shotgun rounds. The immobilized target catches on fire and splash damage can ignite nearby enemies as well. It's a great method for clearing fodders while generating armor from burned enemies, which helps sustain you during prolonged fights. And let's not forget about the Plasma SMG plus the shield. Lock a demon in the place with a shield and finish it off with a Plasma SMG. Killing an enemy with this weapon triggers a chain stun effect all the nearby demons, locking them down in tight quarters. It is a powerful crowd control tool when the horde starts closing in. And lastly, the flail plus a shield. Immobilize or stagger the high priority target with a shield and then follow up with a flail throw. With the enemies held in place, the flail connects with full force, dealing with massive burst damage. When upgraded, the flail also burns enemies, allow you to siphon armor through burn damage. Perfect for aggressive melee synergy and survivability. Maybe there are more stuff to find and discover, but I only found this much. And these are my go-to strategies. To be fair, I like the Ravager because it feels so underrated, and this weapon defines the motto stand and fight. It acts like a chain gun, but when it does its rapid fire, it shreds the super heavy demons and drop health, which makes me keep going with my firing. It rewards me for holding my ground instead of dodging constantly, letting me enter this satisfying meat grinder mode where the more you shoot, the more you survive. That constant health drop while tearing through a super heavy makes it feels like a momentum machine. The melee weapons are there for those up close personal fight, bashing them to death. The gauntlet, the flail, and the dread mace. All three have different uses and upgrades. The gauntlet is for those shock waves. The flail is for physical damage as well as flame damage. And the dread mace is just pure raw power. Parrying can instantly fill the time you can use it. And I like the fact that the dread mace needs multiple parries to use it so that the player doesn't abuse this power. Instead, work for it. In Doom 2016 and in Doom Eternal, combat progression was tightly linked to upgrades. Skillful fighting reward you with upgrade points that unlocked new mods and mechanics, making each encounter feel empowering. As you improve your combat skills, your weapon grows stronger, reinforcing a satisfying feedback loop. The better you fought, the stronger you become. The exploration in these games focused on stat boosts. Hidden collectibles like Argent Cells or the Sentinel Crystals increase your health, armor, and ammo capacity, upgrading players who were curious and knowledgeable about the maps. In Doom the Dark Ages, the progression system flipped these roles. Combat now centers on stat boosts. Arena clears reward you with health, armor, and ammo upgrades. While functional, this feels more like survival than feeling of becoming more powerful through skill. Exploration is focused on weapon upgrades. Gold bars hidden throughout the world are spent at the Sentinel statue to purchase weapon upgrades. This disconnects weapon progression from combat performance. So, why this system feels off to me? The combat feels less rewarding. Instead of earning new weapon upgrades through skill and performance, you mainly gained durability boosts. Exploration feels too passive. Collecting upgrades currency like the gold and rubies isn't tied to mastery or challenge, but rather to simply finding items. And in modern Doom games, your gun is your growth. Your combat skill translates directly into stronger firepower. By tying weapon upgrades to exploration, instead, the core fantasy of I fought hard, now I hit harder becomes diluted. By all means, I don't want to revert the system. Like I said before, the roles are just reversed. So it's not a big deal. The combat is the same and it's pretty much the same run and gun we all know and love. It's just the player's progression that has changed. It doesn't mean that the exploration are bad either. These are well-made puzzles, and I was amazed how the level design is, how these secret locations are connected. Sometimes the secret is guarded by a super heavy demon, and other times it requires clever platforming. Most of the collectibles are toys, lore pages, and weapon skins, while upgrade materials are these gold, rubies, and rare stones. Although all of it is good only for the first time, and the only time you actively try to seek it because you want that 100% completion. And if you look at the codex pages, you can actually see some neat drawings of characters and guns. Nice stuff. Although there is one thing I would like to mention. The Slayer can outrun most things. The Slayer is fast because of his sprint. It gives great momentum. But he can only sprint in a forward direction. So it means he'll start walking when I go sideways or move backwards. This isn't good during combat. There is no side strafing sprint, meaning this punishes lateral movement, which is essential for dodging projectiles. And no, I ain't using my life sigils or the BFG. I want a raw experience. Oh, my bad. It's the BFC now. And I like the change. It made me chuckle because they were creative with this one. Okay, but coming back to the moment. Hey, I don't want a dash or air control. The Dark Ages is its own thing. But I do believe in a system where sprinting is the go-to evade option. Should that be limited to just forward sprinting? Now you must be wondering, what about the shield? Wasn't that a quick maneuver tool to get out quickly from this tight situations? Yes, it is, and yes, it helped me a lot in a lot of times, but it's not possible to lock on in some other enemies or foders and dash away every time. I don't want that. I want to keep an eye on the enemy and see from which direction the attack is coming from and react accordingly. Dodge, parry, all of it. I'll say give us an option for omnidirectional sprint. Let the player sprint in any direction while maintaining the current grounded weight and momentum system. No animation overhauls, no air dash, just full control over sprint. I went to the settings to turn on the auto sprint because I want the Slayer to run fast and I don't have to hold down the shift key for every time to run. But I do believe with an omnidirectional sprint, the combat will benefit heavily, especially on those custom higher difficulties. And now, the dragon and the mech. I love the dragon sequence because I have a fascination for the dragons, and seeing them and able to control in flight is a great experience. It was awesome in Shadow of War. It's awesome in this game as well. The dragon sequence feels alive. You are flying, weaving between enemy projectiles, and picking your targets. And I don't care if it revolves around some dodge and parry mechanic. It's cinematic but interactive and taps into the timeless Dragon Rider fantasy.
Assault mode engaged.
And I like the mech fight with the titans. It's cool, but it somewhat detaches itself and turns into a spam fest of a brawler. Punching these titans to oblivion, then finishing with an unlimited ammunition section, it's okay, I guess, but I wish I could get more engageability with this.
Can I put my balls in your jaws? Balls in your jaws. Can I? Can I? Can I? Can I?
In the dragon section, the Slayer flies around, which is satisfying, and lands on specific places to stop the attack. Pretty much the sea can destroy stuff. And I would like that in the mech sequence to be the same. Although there is a hell level in which you do that, but it's scripted. You ain't seeing other places like the dragon sequence. If you ask me anything about mech, the first thing that will come to my mind is Titanfall 2. And yeah, I'm aware that Titanfall 2 is a different type of shooter compared to Doom's run and gun theme. But I'll say the mech in Titanfall 2 is handled well. And honestly, I don't remember much of it because I played it once. When was 2017 again? The boss fight and the enemy redesign, I like them. The new introduction to these Komodo and Vagari. These new enemies bring not only fresh design but also fresh movement styles. They control space differently, forcing new strategies, meaning you are not just reacting, you are adapting. And the Agadon Hunters, they are basically the marauders of this game, not just a copy paste. This fight feels more ancient. Its presence alone triggers that same dread Marauders did in Eternal. It demands true dual awareness. I remember the Kako demons, this round meatball, goofy Mike Kowalski looking demon now has this super vile overhaul, squid like design, and looks straight out of some horror movie. I love it. The demons have interesting concept designs. Even the Revenant, they have this Grim Reaper design, and I don't know about you, but it feels like all the demons' design change is not just cosmetic, they are a menacing threat. And the Pinky has these large horns and has a large body too, which gives it more primal look. A lot of enemies had a glow up while some remained the same. Hey, is it just me or it feels like the Slayer beat the shit out of these demons so much that he devolved most of the demons that we see in the sequel? But man, the Cosmic Baron are the most relentless enemies in this game. What makes them really stand out is how much they break your rhythm. You are dodging, swapping weapons, managing a crowd, and boom, the Cosmic Baron charges in, forcing a sudden shift in priorities. They punish hesitation and demand aggression back. And if you don't take the fight to them, they will steamroll you. They are one of those enemies that when you see their entrance queue, your gut clenches because you know the fight just got serious. And yes, the classic, the Cyber Demon, a towering, imposing behemoth that commands respect. And the moment it storms into the arena, in short, the Cyber Demon in Dark Ages is everything it should be, a boss tier enemy disguised as a regular encounter. As per the old one, its boss fight is pretty much the same as every other mech fight. The only difference is that it just has a bigger AoE attacks. I already said my piece about the mech fight, so there is that. But I like the concept of the Slayer be like, nah, I'll win, and rips off the Cthulhu's head. Enters the king's mech, destroys every titan in its path, fights the Cthulhu, rips his head off, elaborates no further, goes on fighting with Azrak. And the payoff? Still metal as hell. You fight a Lovecraftian god in a medieval death battle and win. Azrak fight reminds me of what the Dark Lord boss fight from Tag 2 could have been, and to be fair, it's somewhat of an improvement. But it makes me feel like what could have been if its software had just more time to work on the Dark Lord's boss fight. Yeah, don't we all? It's more polished, more dynamic, and less repetitive. The phase escalates and feel distinct. But in execution, it becomes a drawn out parry fest with very little escalation, relying too much on a single mechanic. As per the story, to be fair, I was kind of afraid when Thera gained this wraith powers because I didn't want anyone to steal the Slayer's thunder. Anytime a supporting character suddenly gets a major power boost, the worry is that it might undermine the main character, which has been happening a lot. Fortunately, she didn't, and I, for one, thankful for it. She had her own weight in the story, and that's fine. But there should be no doubt. It should never feel like she was stepping into the Slayer's legacy. It was more like she was carrying forward her own part, while the Slayer remained this unstoppable engine of destruction. As long as you don't taint the legacy characters, I'm fine with it. As per the soundtrack, I am a true enjoyer. This time it is composed by the Finishing Move. They worked on Borderlands 3 and Halo Wars 2, but I never played these games. The Dark Ages is the first time I am listening to their work, so let's see which one will be my favorite. There has been a lot of heated discussion around the game lately, with plenty of criticism and passionate takes from both fans and content creators. I'm not here to call out to anyone specifically, but I do think some of these arguments deserve a counterpoint. It's not my job to defend the game. But when the same points keep surfacing without full context, I feel like it's worth addressing them head on. Now, speaking of difficulty, I believe the sliders are a good introduction for all the old as well as the new Doom fans. I never got why people and the fans are so divided by it. The Last of Us 2 did it and it played just fine. Eternal was hard, I get it, and how much it brought to the franchise. But now they want to make a game playable for all the players. And if you are going to complain that back in the day, Tag 1 was a staple for being hard to the series, and that the people working at id Software understand they want to fully commit and double down on the difficulty, Doom always had a difficulty system, even in the early 1993 game. The main purpose of Doom games is to provide the power fantasy, the legacy to the player and fight and eliminate all the demons. For a new player who plays it on a lower difficulty, for them you are an unstoppable killing machine. And for the veterans who wants a challenge will go for the higher difficulty. And for them, it's like to claim that title fully. A player on lower difficulty isn't hurting your experience. Doom is about putting a BFG in everyone's hand and letting them decide how much hell they can handle. If anything, Doom's sliders respect both new and veterans. That's not dumbing it down, that's giving them power back to the players. And it's not about gatekeeping who gets to play. It's about giving everyone the chance to experience that demon slaying power trip in their own way. So the parry mechanic is something that people don't like in their game. It's a good thing when it's an optional feature, but it becomes infuriating when it becomes a core mechanic. Whenever any games comes out with a parry mechanic, it's immediately compared to Sekiro. And I pretty much surmise how that went for those people. Honestly, for me, I like parrying in my games. I liked it in Prince of Persia, I liked it in God of War, Witcher 3, Bloodborne. Hell, I even like it in Sekiro as well. So naturally, I like the parry mechanic in the Dark Ages. What's great in Dark Ages is that the parry feels like an extension of the Slayer's brutal rhythm, not a disruption of it. You don't have to rely on the parry every time in an encounter, but if you learn it, it elevates your gameplay to another level. It's situational, satisfying, and not forced, which is exactly how it should be in games. The Dark Ages gives you the tools to do without making it the only path. That's a smart design. There has also been some chattering about small slow motion window after each parry, and honestly, I don't get the hate. How exactly is slow motion ruining your gameplay? I'm playing on Nightmare with parry window set to 1, loot drop set to 1, projectile speed set to 2, damage to the Slayer at 300%, and damage to Demon at 50%. And let me tell you, that brief slow-mo, that's a lifesaver. I have seen Barons charging at me countless times, and that slow motion movement after a parry gives me enough time to read their next move and react. It's not some flashy gimmick, it's functional. It serves the parry system, especially on higher difficulties where the margin of error is razor thin. And if you think the slow motion is just bullshit, fine, I dare you. Run custom difficulty like I do, then never play it defensively. See how long you last. Doom always has been about run and gun, aggression, but smart aggression. That moment of slowdown, it's not a crutch. It's your reward for skillful timing, and if you are complaining about it, then you are not using it right. You know what's hilarious? When Doom Eternal dropped, people complained that it wasn't like 2016. Too much weapon switching, they said. Too much resource management. Too much platforming. They missed the raw run and gun style of 2016. Then the Dark Ages came out. More grounded, more brutal, less mobility, no dashes. And guess what? People are still disappointed. Now it's too slow, not fluid like Eternal. Like, there is no convincing to these people. Same story with the art direction. Eternal had a brighter, more colorful palette, and people cried about it, that it looked too arcadey. Now, the Dark Ages brings back the gritty, heavy, horror inspired tone, and suddenly they are nostalgic about the color. What planet are you on? You are playing a game where a guy in space armor punches literal hell demons in the face, and you are asking for realism. You can like one more than the other, that's fine. But hating everything that isn't to your exact favorite, that's not critique, that's just noise. And why are you even complaining about the campaign is 22 mission long? Oh, it's tedious, it's repetitive. No shit, you are killing demons. That's the whole point of Doom. What do you expect? A dating sim halfway through? And now the people are complaining that the Dark Ages doesn't have a multiplayer. Alright, let's do a quick reality check. Go search Doom Eternal multiplayer on YouTube. What do you see? Not much? Barely anyone engaged with it, no one talked about it. So, why do you think id Software pulled the plug? Because it didn't matter. Nobody played it. So, why pour resources into something the community clearly didn't value? Why waste devs' time, money, and energy on a mode that feels ignored? Let's be honest, Doom is a single player power fantasy. Always has been. The moment you start trying to balance the Slayer's experience for PvP, you dilute what makes it special. id Software made the right call. Focus on what's Doom do best. Pure, unrelenting carnage in single player. Then there is the whole melee ammo debate that's been floating around. Sure, melee attacks usually don't have limits. But in a game like this, if melee was truly unlimited, it would just turn into a spam fest. You'll end up beating everything down with your dread mace non-stop, ignoring the actual arsenal. That completely breaks the weapon balance and kills the core loop of mixed gunplay. And one thing I almost forgot, the glory kills are replaced just by punches, kicks, and shield bash. You can still perform glory kills animation by jumping, and I'm okay with it because I'm having fun with the game. But I saw some players that don't like the glory kills because they don't like to watch the same animation repeatedly. My guy, the glory kills are the staple of the modern Doom games. What's the point of playing Doom if you're not going to see some gore and mutilation? By the way, sometimes these glory kill animations helps in gameplay, like giving iframes to save yourself from near death situations. Like these animations have purpose, not just some fancy bloodbath. That's the part of the identity. You know what's the actual problem? Players struggling with change or wanting a perfect blend of every past Doom, which is an impossible goal. If someone trashes Eternal for being too complex, then trashes the Dark Ages for being too simple, at some point, the issue isn't the design, it's the expectation. I'll keep playing this game. I spent a lot of time in Eternal, maybe I'll do the same here. I followed the Doom community when Eternal was in its height, and as per the sequel, nobody wanted there should be a Doom Eternal 2, in spite of what Eternal brought to the franchise. The Dark Ages is a good approach for a prequel game, and it accomplished what it set out to do. A medieval horror game where you play as the horror. My only issue with it is its forced ray tracing. I understand the game is being made for newer hardwares, but hardware isn't cheap either. But a new console sounds very reasonable, but that's a whole other discussion. So I am just going to rest my case here. So if you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later. Peace.